Mr. Wilson, you graduated first in your class at Naval Officer School in 1951.
I was working at the University of Houston after I had graduated, and 8 months later, the Korean War broke out. Well, I was in the Naval Reserves, which I had joined in order to avoid the draft when I was in college. I wanted to finish my college career. So, being in the Naval Reserve after the Korean War broke out, I got my orders to report for duty 3 days later. I went to boot camp as an enlisted man. My rank was a seaman apprentice. And so I had applied to become an officer since I had graduated from college, but I'd been turned down by the Navy. So after I went into the service as an enlisted man, my father wrote his friend Lyndon Johnson, who had been an administrative aide to the Corpus Christi congressman where we grew up in the Great Depression. LBJ was aide to Congressman Kleberg. Kleberg's family owned the King Ranch, and he was the congressman from Corpus Christi, and LBJ was his administrative assistant back in the day when each congressman had 2 employees, a secretary and a administrative assistant. So my father wrote LBJ and asking him to look into why I was not commissioned an officer since I'd graduated from college. Well, after being an enlisted man for about 4 months, I got a telegram from LBJ saying congratulations on being appointed an officer in the United States Navy. And then 2 days later, I got the notice from the Navy that I'd been commissioned an officer. So I was sent to school in Monterey, California. The school was located in a former country club in Monterey. It was called the Del Mar Country Club. It was luxurious beyond words. And that's where we had instructors. I had my wife with me, but I couldn't spend the night with her because I could leave the campus only from 5 to 8 in the evening. So at 5 o'clock, she would pick me up, we'd go home and have dinner. And by 8 o'clock, I had to be back at the dormitory studying. Well, I was never a strong student in college because making a living always came first. And so my grades were fair, but not good. So at the school, at the Naval Officer School, you were required to be at your desk at 8 o'clock studying from 8 to 10. No exceptions. And they monitored it by having someone go up and down the hall of the dormitory of the Bachelor Officers' Quarters, monitoring to be sure that everybody was at their desk studying. Well, so therefore, grades were a cinch. If I had to study and was made to study, it was very simple. So as a result of that studying, and by the way, we had great instructors. One of the instructors had been in that famous torpedo squadron at Midway, the Battle of Midway in the Pacific, which was the first battle that America won during World War II against the Japanese. But he was a great, very interesting fellow. But anyway, so I graduated first in my class. The class was about 100 people. It was easy. If you're made to study, you study and you make good grades. So then, after graduating from class, I got my orders to report to a fleet tug, T-U-G. And tugs pull disabled ships from Hawaii to San Francisco and things like that. Well, the commander of the school was insulted that the man who graduated first in his class was being sent to a fleet tug. So he called the Pentagon and complained and got my orders changed to go to an aircraft carrier. Before I could get to the aircraft carrier, my old outfit caught up with me, the Naval Reserve outfit, and instead I was sent to Japan to work for the NSA, the National Security Agency.